Good morning, my friends. Perhaps you had the opportunity yesterday, as you went out from our meditation, to experience the way in which allowing suffering with compassion, not resistance, opens wide the window of joy in the present moment, in all that is good and is here, right now. I struggled with this idea for a long time in my practice because I didn't really get it in my body. Trying to understand this practice of mindful healing and breathing and compassion in response to suffering was not possible. In fact, my mind thought it was pretty stupid, as in false, a nice idea, but just a calm way of saying, that's life, get over it. And so I encourage you to practice in the many moments of small or large suffering and resistance. Bring your mind home to your body and breathe, and allow that healing of the split and the craving for something different to become steady and still. The pain is not gone, but you are steady and still, and aware of the goodness that is still with you in this present moment of life. It had to be experiential for me before I got it. And one day it came all of a sudden, how out of that stinking mud comes the beautiful lotus. Out of the pain in my heart comes an equally intense sense of gratitude for all that is still present, right here and right now. I hope that this is beginning to settle in for you, dear friends. It can only happen through the direct experience of your mind, your body, and your awareness. The logic of it sometimes makes no sense at all. Like what? Be happy with suffering? Well, let me rephrase that. Yes, be happy and be with suffering. The natural response for all of us to pain or distress is to try and get away from it as quickly as possible. And this tendency is grounded right in the way that our brains were created to function, because it is a survival skill. Like, see that mountain lion? Run. But the problem with that is that most suffering, it is of the feeling and thinking kind. So that with the energy of mindfulness, you can recognize the painful feeling in your heart and mind and embrace it tenderly. And by generating the energy of mindfulness, one way to think about it is that we go home to the pain and embrace it in just the way that a mother holds her baby when it suffers. The energy of mindfulness is the mother, and the baby is our painful feeling. So let us be seated together, if you're not already. Anchor your awareness in your belly and notice the quality and the pleasure in your in-breath and your out-breath. In-breath, out-breath. You might put your hand on your belly to help you keep your awareness on that breathing in and breathing out by adding the sensation of touch. And take a moment to notice what you bring with you in your mind today, this morning. What is there in today that you resist? It could be as simple as just getting out of bed, or as complicated as returning to a decision that seems to have no right answer. And as you breathe out, release the thinking and bring your awareness and your mind down to the level of your abdomen. Simple, through mindful breathing. Tai tells this story about being grounded. He said, when you look at a tree in a storm, if you focus your attention on the top of the tree, it seems the tree is so vulnerable and fragile, it could be broken at any time. But when you direct your attention down to the trunk of the tree, you see that the tree is deeply rooted in the soil and can withstand the storm. Your belly is the trunk of the tree, and your mind is the top of the tree. So how do we handle strong emotions and the state of mind in response to it that causes our worst suffering? Be mindful of possibilities. Just the other day I had one when I awakened in a state of really mental darkness, a state of grief in many ways, over some things that I usually have good defenses about, or at least a place to put the feelings. But in that moment of awakening, it was like my heart just hurt physically in my body. At this point in my practice years, I know, lie there and breathe. And so I did. I let the thoughts come, the thoughts related to sadness, suffering, imagination, grief, projection, and fear. I let those come into my mind. And as we did in this meditation, I took some out breaths to release them. And since I am a believer in the God of my understanding, I imagined breathing them out into that God's arms and having Him just simply put them in His own heart and hold them. But if that is not part of your belief, simply letting them go to the air, letting them dissipate, letting those kinds of painful feelings riding on the out-breath and the air of the out-breath disperse into the air above you, just like particles of thought that become weightless, and watch them as they rise and separate and become diluted by the air. And with my hand on my abdomen, I felt my body begin to steady. And the thoughts and feelings begin to anchor. And I felt more steady, like the trunk of my tree. Was the darkness gone? Absolutely not. I had it with me most of the day. But from approaching it mindfully, I understood it and anchored it in the trunk of that tree of my abdomen. So I invite you now in these few moments that we have left to bring into your mind something in your life that can make you suffer, something very small, or something that's moderate, not something huge, unless, of course, that's what comes to mind. And allow those feelings to become very vivid, thoughts and feelings. Maybe it's a broken relationship. Maybe it's an uncertain physical condition that you don't know what to do about, or the suffering of someone you love. And on the out-breath, notice each one of those thoughts as you let them go into the air, and they rise above you and disperse. This is a practice that really needs to take about 10 minutes all of itself. But I wanted you to have a taste of it so you can practice today. Whatever it is that hurts your heart with suffering, let compassion for yourself come into the space that is now within you. Practice with this, my friends, and I promise you, it will become real, even though it may be mostly an idea right now. Namaste. Amen.